Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the Hot Moon Podcast. So, Phoenix Suns finish out their 10-game stretch going 7-3. I mean, we had the hardest last 10 games than any other team in the NBA, and we finished out 7-3. So, credit to just Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Eubanks, Nurkic, all Grayson Allen, everybody, Frank Vogel. You know what? To finish sixth, even though expectations for this team was to finish top four in the West, considering the injuries to Bradley Beal and just the lack of playing time or amount of games between Beal, Booker, and Durant, it's truly remarkable to actually finish sixth. All that being said, so we avoid the play-in, okay? Because it was starting to look like that. I'm like, yo, if it would be a travesty if the Suns ended up being a play-in team and then losing that play-in game and somehow find themselves with this expensive-ass roster not being in the postseason. Right? I mean, it would have just been bad. And honestly, I really wouldn't have put that on Frank Vogel, right? I mean, Frank Vogel's a defensive guy, but at the same time, we have offensive deficiencies because we are a jump shooting team. We don't have a post presence. The only post game we get is Nurkic getting rebounds and maybe putbacks as part of an offense in the post game, right? Defensively, we can get after it on the wings, right? I mean, Booker, Beal, Allen, that part of that the beginning of the 10-game stretch, we look really good against Denver. For some reason, the Phoenix Suns, I feel like we match up very well against Denver. So now, as our prize, we face the best defensive team in the Minnesota Timberwolves. I gotta say, this is gonna be a good matchup. This is gonna be fantastic. I'm looking forward to this as a Suns fan. Minnesota should be the favorites. They're the best defensive team in the NBA. They're one of the top teams record-wise in the NBA. They led the West for a little bit during the season. They teetered towards the end of the season, partly because of just probably Karl-Anthony Towns missing some games and everything. So, but now it seemed like everybody's back from Minnesota. We got our horses. Thank God we didn't suffer any major catastrophic injuries, especially when Kevin Durant had to carry the load. He's been able to stay healthy. So now for Kevin Durant, this is a great spot for Kevin Durant to remind folks that he is one of the best players in the NBA, right? I appreciate Kevin Durant's services. I was up and down on him throughout the season, but most of the time I was grateful for him, kind of pushing through. He played a lot of the games where he didn't have Booker Beal, and he was able to win some of those games for us. So kudos to Kevin Durant. Stellar season. In my opinion, I had him early in the season for MVP considerations. If the record was better, if they were top 4, top 3 team, you definitely have to have Kevin Durant for MVP considerations. Me personally, I would, not to sound like a homer, but just look at, I know, other fans aren't going to watch his Suns team throughout the year. I did, right? So I saw what he was doing. There was some games he had a lot of duds. I didn't like that. Just kind of wondering, like, Kevin Durant, where he at? I was getting a little nervous as we're about to end the postseason, but it seemed like he is back in full gear. So this is our lineup, right? Against Minnesota's lineup. And look, how are we going to play Gobert? Gobert really, he's definitely a mobile big, but we're not worried about Gobert's offense, right? Cat is back. Cat is the guy that Nurkic is going to have to try to match up with. Or if Cat is on the power forward spot, and if Durant is going to play the 4, he's really going to have Cat out on the perimeter. So I like our guard versus the guard play versus Ant-Man and Booker. I think that is going to be a duel. But Booker's going to have to average 25 points in this series. Durant is going to have to average about the same, if not slightly more, or vice versa. Both guys, either one is going to have to average between 25 to 30 points for us to be in these games throughout this series. X factor for us is Bradley Beal. I know Bradley Beal has been hurt. He is not 100%. That back is not 100%. These hamstrings or calves, whatever is ailing him is not 100%, right? But he's in the lineup. So any contributions that we get, additional contributions we get from Bradley Beal, despite the crazy money he's getting, will be huge for us. So yeah, I like the Phoenix Suns in 7 games. I think we can steal a game on the road. The best game to steal in this series is game 1, the feeler game, even though we just played. So maybe we probably won't win game 1. We'll probably win game 2. This team, I think, we were in Minnesota, so we'll probably just end up staying in Minnesota. No need to go back to Phoenix. Just stay put. So yeah, I like this matchup. Look, low key, all the pressure is on Minnesota, right? I mean, there's a lot. They traded a lot to get Rudy Gobert. I know if we had a top, if it was fly, if the seedings were switched, right, and we were the type of team, or we were the team that were having a very successful season all year, and then we have to face a Minnesota Timberwolves, I would be nervous, right? But considering that I've kind of kept expectations low throughout this entire season for the Suns, just considering the injuries and everything, and we end up finishing sixth. We're playing with house money. Crazy with this expensive roster, but I think we can get by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Would I be surprised if we lose? No, but I like this matchup. Anyways, let me know what y'all think about all this. Appreciate y'all. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.